If you live in an old house, you know the struggle already, but you fall in love with the creaky floors, the old wide floor, the original molding, the fact that your home has actual soul in it. And when you look down and see what the previous owners did, you kind of cringe a little bit because there's plastic toggle light switches and fluorescent light bulbs and things that belong more in a doctor's office from the 1980s than they do into a historic home. And it feels like a tragedy within design, and it is. But when you go to fix it, sometimes panic can set in because you want your home to feel current without feeling trendy. I've seen a lot of old homes flipped in ways that, in my opinion, are too trendy, and it won't hold the historical value of the home, and it doesn't feel right. It doesn't settle right. There's this juxtaposition between honoring the past, but also keeping things functional in the future and now. And so I wanted to help you guys by creating a list of some go-to items that I find helpful in historic homes to modernize it without stripping away character. And yes, every single one is linked below, so you can check it out there as well. But follow along, I'll walk you through the why on why I would pick these items. One of my favorite things to change out in a historic home is the light switches. I know this sounds like not a big deal until you see a brass toggle switch or a rotary dimmer switch. They are gorgeous. They're not inexpensive, they're pretty pricey, but to me, they elevate the house. They make it feel historic even more than a normal switch would. And if you swap them out, it will scream classy, high end. Look for the unlacquered brass if you want it to feel most authentic to a historic home, but either patina is really great. I've seen it and I've linked those as well. If you go with a more lacquered brass that's shiny, it might come across more of like a 1980s casino, so I don't recommend that. So either unlacquered or more of a matte finish, but they're just absolutely gorgeous and will make your room feel so much more high-end and historic. One thing about old homes is when the walls are lath and plaster and it's really hard to add new electric into the spaces, it can be hard with the lighting changes, right? And a big trend and something I really like in bedrooms, above fireplaces, is adding brass wall sconces because it adds so much lower lighting and it's beautiful in a space. But sometimes it's a deal breaker for my clients because they don't want to pay for the electrical to be put in to run wiring there and then hang sconces. So I found this great product. It's rechargeable sconces. It adds that ambient light you're looking for without the cost of an electrician coming in and adding new wiring. So I highly recommend this one too, and I think it can add to the space so much. Okay, schoolhouse milk glass pendants is another lighting option for historic homes that I really love, and here's why. Sometimes when people buy houses that have been updated over the years, the lighting feels like it was bought at a clearance section, and it's just mismatched and it doesn't look good. Or a builder redid it and it's all builder grade, typical lighting that isn't period appropriate. When you look at the schoolhouse milk glass, it diffuses the light really well, but the pattern and the style feels historic. And the key to making it feel updated is picking a finish that looks more modern and updated. So black hardware with it, or maybe brushed gold or antique gold, if that is an option for you. So it will update the room so much, give you that diffused light, and still feel historic and beautiful. Number 4 is ornate cast iron or brass vent covers. I just was at a client's yesterday and we talked through this because there's no easier way, in my opinion, to ruin the vibe of a gorgeous space by keeping the original baseboards that are those dented in utilitarian metal slatted vent covers. Most people don't know about that, but there are so many beautiful Victorian craftsman style and all different registers covers, vent covers that really add to the room, and they come in all different finishes, black. Just make sure before you order any of those that you measure the vent sizes because they're usually non-standard in historic homes. So the house I was in yesterday was going to be all installed new because they're getting vents put in, and that's fine, just ask your contractor, but don't assume because one vent cover is one size in a historic home, that they're all going to be the same size. Measure each one out before you hit order. It'll just save you time and money. Number 5 is fluted glass doorknobs. This is not as common, but in historic homes, sometimes people change out the hardware over the years, and if it's looking basic and standard, a nice way to go ahead and restore some dignity to those doors is to get the fluted glass doorknob. It's beautiful, it feels historic, and it feels high quality. It's not, again, not an inexpensive thing to buy throughout the house, but if you have the budget for it, I highly recommend that as well. Number 6 is a washable printed Persian style rug. You know I love a good washable rug, and the Persian style feels historic, but the washable brings it current, and it lasts a long time. The ones that I've used, I really love it, but it feels period appropriate for the home. Sometimes I walk into spaces and a historic house, someone will have a rug that just does not feel like it fits. It's way too Victorian, or way too craftsman, or way too maybe boho. I think boho is probably what I see more than any. So make sure you get a rug that feels up to date, but is also a style that works with historic homes. And I link those as well below. Number 7 is pinch pleated soft linen drapery. So older homes often have larger trim and heavy wood around the windows, and standard grommet curtains, not my favorite. They often make the windows feel like cluttered and dated. If you go with a tailored pinch pleated linen, it's going to feel much more high end. It's going to soften that rigid architecture around the window. And linen's one of the oldest textiles in the world. So I love how that feels in historic homes. And hanging on minimal brass rings and rods, also that brings another higher level to the design. It's going to feel much more high end than just putting it on the rod itself. I love that. And just make sure when you order and hang them that you take into account the space that the circle and clips are going to add height-wise from the rod to the curtain. Number 8 is woven Roman shades that are bamboo. I have this in my historic home. I've added them to so many. I love it. If you don't want something really heavy on your windows, it can diffuse the light, but also let a little bit of light in. You can combine this with the linen curtains or sheer curtains, and it's a great combination. It feels updated. It layers underneath your curtains really well, and I highly recommend considering it. It comes in a lot of different wood tones. Just make sure you don't add more than 2 wood tones to a space. Otherwise, it can feel too busy with all the different wood colors. Number 9 would be minimalist dining room chairs with a vintage table. So sometimes I go into spaces and it'll be an old historic table and old historic chairs, and the chairs are just too heavy, too ugly, or too beat up in general to use on a daily basis. So people feel like they have to get rid of the whole set. And I say, keep the table. Usually they have a lot of charm. They have a lot of history. Like one of my clients, underneath the table, her kids had signed it all throughout their life. And so you get to keep those moments, but how you can update that easily is just updating it with modern or sleek or kind of a more bohemian chair, maybe upholstered chairs around it. So we've linked some of our favorites of those. Skip on keeping the chairs, add high quality, comfortable chairs around a vintage table, and that usually you can pull off keeping the table as well. And finally, with number 10, update your picture frames. So many times I go to houses and there's beautiful old artwork or family photos, maybe grandma's pictures, and they keep them in frames that are just really ugly and mismatched. Not that they all have to match, but make sure your tones match. I put in the links, a burl wood picture frame, and then also some gold frames that we really like. And either one of those are great options, or if you like black, have it all be different style black frames, but have the color match. And that really unifies a gallery wall and even a space if you can have similar tones in your frames and a more high-end frame throughout the space. And I think it'll make you love your historic home even more. My first design client ever said she wanted to work with me because I brought the joy and love of keeping the character of a house without gutting everything and without making everything feel like it needs to be removed, but also know how to modernize it. And I think that's the key to this post and to what I love doing within design. It's about intentionality. So if you have a house, a historic home, this is the sweet spot of design that I really love to help in. If you need design help locally or virtually, I have 1 hour consult to get us started, and then I can help select products alongside you to update your home into a place that you're really proud to live in and excited to enjoy. Also, keep in mind that everything that we talked about today is linked below. And if you click subscribe, that's really helpful for us to be able to create more videos like this. And if there are items that you have a historic home and you've enjoyed updating it with, please share those below too. I'd love to learn about new items as well. So thanks for being part of the community, and we'll see you soon.